I want to talk about that civil case really quick with Larry King.
Yeah, and Paul went out and had a family, and I know where I was going now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Paul told me that he was recruited by this Franklin group, and he was 10, 11, 12 years old, and they'd use him as a decoy in parks and shopping centers and so forth to attract other children his age over near the car where the adults would be waiting, and they'd grab the kids, throw them in the back seat, and then Paul and another kid would put chloroform over their mouths and they would put them to sleep. And Paul has admitted that he was involved in the Johnny Gosch kidnapping in West Des Moines, Iowa in I think it was 1982. And he was, according to a book called Why Johnny Can't Come Home. By the way, the Franklin cover-up book and Why Johnny Can't Come Home is available through my website and tedgunderson.com. And so this is how they used Paul Benassi. So he was a critical witness. And John DeCamp sued Larry King on behalf of Paul and won a $1 million judgment against him. And John's standing on a street corner sometime later, and a stranger walks up to him, stands next to him, and says, "If you ever collect that $1 million, you won't live to spend it." John's life has been threatened. He had a nice home in Lincoln, and two couples came in their car, drove in the driveway. His oldest daughter was there in the yard. They drove over the puppy, and back and forth, and they told the oldest daughter, "If your dad doesn't back off, we're going to do this to you and your sisters and brothers." So John ended up moving to a small town in Nebraska, about 35 miles south of Lincoln, called Claytonia, Clatonia, Nebraska. 296 people in Claytonia. And I might add that John's been down there about 13, 14 years. And in May of 2006, a little over a year and a half ago, I was in a condominium in Las Vegas, and I won't go into details, but I was basically being poisoned through the air in my condominium. And I called John and I said, "John, I'm moving to Oregon." He said, "No, come out here, I'll take care of you." So I live in this small town also with John DeCamp, not with him, but I live down the street, about 2 blocks down the street from him. And I had to move to a small town so I can really take care of myself. I had arsenic and cyanide in me. I was suspicious. My blood pressure was shooting way up, and it was so serious. It was like 242 over 119. And what I think happens is that this evil element in our government, and it has to be our government because private enterprise is in business to make money. This doesn't make them money. This costs them hundreds of thousands of dollars. But they make the money off the children and off of their drugs and off of their prostitution, what have you. They make the mafia look like a Sunday school class, okay? So I think what happens is they were giving me poison in the air from the condo next door and a condo across the hall, and it was causing my blood pressure to go up. Now I'm on blood pressure pills, by the way, and I've always had 120 over 70, always my whole life, and all of a sudden it shoots up. Well, what this does, it creates a situation where you have a heart attack or a stroke, and I think that's the way they're killing a lot of the patriots around the country, by giving them poison, and then they say, "Oh, they died of a natural cause." I caught on. I'd be sitting at my desk and I couldn't think. I didn't know where I was. So I said, "There's something wrong with me." I went down and had this blood test. Again, arsenic cyanide.
Wow. Why don't you talk a little bit about the drug running aspect of the Franklin cover? Because that was in there, and that kind of shocked me that they were using these kids kind of as drug mules.
Yes, they were using these kids to haul drugs all over the world. And Alicia Owens said that she would leave in the morning, Omaha in the morning, and fly to Los Angeles and put a package in a locker and turn around and catch a flight back to Omaha in time to watch the Johnny Carson show. This is drugs. Paul Benassi told me that he was used as, I think they call them mules, as a mule to haul drugs all over the world. And he said he would fly into an airport say in Los Angeles or New York, and he would meet a couple there he'd never met before, and they'd have false passports, and they would fly as a family overseas, different countries, and take drugs and haul drugs all over the world. So this involved not only prostitution, male homosexuality, prostitution, satanic activity, but also drug running.
And in closing, what can we do? You know, what can the people out there listening actually do about this information? You know, where can we go?
Well, all we can do right now, and John DeCamp has done this. He wrote the book, The Franklin Cover-Up. He's exposed it. By the way, John's book, Franklin Cover-Up, the mainstream media, the mainstream bookstores will not handle the book. They don't handle the book. John has distributed it out of his office. It's available through me or through John DeCamp, tedgunderson.com. And John sold like 180,000 copies of his book from his right out of his law office. What can we do? I don't know. All I can do is expose it. I've dedicated my life to exposing it, and my life's been crazy. What's happened to me, the poisoning, and I've had contracts on me. I've had hitmen waiting for me, and disinformation. I'm the victim of extensive disinformation program by FBI informant Stu Webb, and by the way, he is an informant, and so forth. Not an awful lot we can do except just keep working and keep exposing it. You folks out there need to pick up the book and read it, buy it and read it, send it to your friends. And there's another interesting development on this Franklin cover-up case, which I left off, by the way. The Yorkshire TV people in England came into the United States for some 7 months with a team and did a documentary. That documentary was to be aired on May the 3rd, 1994, and it was actually listed in the TV Guide, and all of a sudden it was not aired. A certain congressman bought up the rights, ordered all copies destroyed, and I happen to have obtained a bootleg copy of the show through John DeCamp. It was sent to him anonymously, and I have distributed that far and wide. I've sold copies of it for years now. And here about a year ago, I received a letter from an organization in London, and they said that the property belonged to them, and if I continued to sell the show, that they would sue me. And now, to prove that there's a manipulation of the records, I ordered a copy of the TV Guide for that date, May the 3rd, 1994. And although it was listed at one time in the TV Guide, the copy that I received years later, it was not in that publication. It had been taken out. So they reprinted the whole book just to get rid of that one entry into the TV Guide for that date. And I find that very interesting. These are very powerful people. This is the Illuminati. The Illuminati wants to rule the world, and they're doing a pretty good job of it. They've infiltrated virtually every level of society, and including the prosecutor's offices, the judgeships, industry, politics, Washington, D.C., the White House, and it's very serious. It's very serious. I'm afraid that it's so serious that we may have already lost our country.
Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. If you enjoyed that interview excerpt, just a reminder, we're doing 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 videos a day on various subject matters, from Epstein to Nexium to Bilderberg to transhumanism to the technopoly to the military-industrial complex, and so much more. So please make sure that you're subscribed, thumb these videos up, and if you can, guys, this is how we're doing it. Through the GoFundMe. It's how I'm doing this on the reel. So thank you all for your support, and I will see you on the flip side.